When was the last time that was featured on here? If at all.
I don't remember. I think it's been in the video. I need to do a fleet update also. Should I do that now then? Or? Alright, this week on our Heffe Chopshop, we're going to give you a fleet update. Alright, so we're back. The Stout is probably one of the longest projects I've had on the channel. Don't know if you've actually seen it, but I've had it forever. So this is a 64 Stout, 65, something like that. And it has a 3SG beams in it with a 6-speed J160. We've got some ridiculous headers for literally put your head inside them. Trumpets, big brakes from a Skyline, Hilux rear brakes, Hilux diff, custom tray, custom interior, custom wiring, like everything I've tried to do myself. I didn't do the headers myself. I will give Aaron Cotterill a lot of credit for that. They are amazing. I didn't do those. I didn't do the surge tank, and then pretty much everything else I've done myself. So that's been a project of mine for I've had it for about 4 years, I think. I worked on it reasonably heavy for about a year, and then we moved, and it's been a lot of back and forth, and I've never had the space to work on it again. It needs probably rust repairs and a bit of engine wiring, and it's pretty much done. All the brakes are there, all the exhaust is there, everything's sort of together. I just need to like paint it all, put it all back together. So it's getting there, just got to get actual time to do it one day. So next up is the Sior. So we've been building this for Emily. It's her car. She's has all the options and all the choices in it. I've just been building it and she's been helping me. So she built a house early last year and sort of just got it happening recently. So she's rented that out. And then she doesn't really have the money to pump back into this just yet. So we'll get to this eventually when she's ready to. It pretty much needs intake pipes and an exhaust. And then we need to send it to Garage 7 or someone to do a link and wiring. So it's got the K3 swap out of a GTVI Sirion. This particular engine came out of a YRV. So we've got all the build on the channel. It is a cool little series. So it's a 1.3 litre swap from 1 litre. It's a 4-cylinder swap from 3-cylinder. And we've also put a Crown, one of the Crown 1J turbos onto it. So we've had a bit of issues with the intercooler fitting. We had to do all the wiring and the interior to swap over for the K3, and then we've still got to do radiator lines, intercooler pipes, exhaust, wiring, get it on the road. So we've also done coilovers, big brakes, we've got a body kit for it, we've got different wheels for it, we've got wheels for it already. So we've got 2 sets of wheels and then a body kit. We're going to do like a wrap or something or respray. And then I think Emily wants to do some seats and some interior stuff, and then it's pretty much ready. She's just going to use it as like a cool little daily. I think she wants to take it to the track and bomb around in it, so that'd be pretty cool. I'm just going to get something else finished so I can race it. So that's pretty much it for the Sior. We'll show you one of the other cars. Alright, so next up is the most important car on the channel, the Gets. So this thing gets me to work, and that is it. I do not like this car. It does exactly what it says on the box. It'll get you to work. It's reasonably zippy, I guess, but I don't like to drive it. The manual's sloppy and it's just not very nice. So I put some Mark 7 Golf seats that I had in the Hilux. I put one in. I need to do the other side, but because of Jackson's seats, so we'll deal with that later. Put some tri-spokes that were donated from Luke, from his Vento. So it's got some cool wheels, it's got some wheels and a cool seat, which makes the car much more bearable. This seat's super comfy, so it makes anywhere a little bit nicer to be. That is it, really. I have a replacement for this in the works, but you'll have to wait like 6 months to see that. And then this will go, and then I'll hopefully never own one again. On to the next vehicle. So this is the only other car that I have that runs, is the truck. So it's my favourite thing to drive at the moment. It's just fun bombing around. So I finally organised a tow bar for it. So a mate of mine's taken it to his workshop, got everything measured up, and organised, and then I've had to book in for about 6 weeks from now to get a tow bar, so I can keep the tailgate lifter. It's going to have a pin on either side, so you pull the pins out, pull the tow bar out, use the tailgate lifter. When you're done with that, put the tow bar back in, put the 2 pins back in, and you can put your car trailer on the back or whatever you need to do. So we did like 400 k's in this thing yesterday, and it doesn't miss a beat. It's wicked. Brakes maybe a little bit hot. We went through Chatter Ponds, which was pretty entertaining. That's about it really. This thing's like a full workhorse. I just use it for anything and everything I can get an excuse for. So the plan with this long term is to put the Dodge cab on it and just make it a cool like workhorse daily type deal. So it's an Isuzu NPR 2007, so it's got the 4HK1, but it's got no DPFs. So it's the Euro 3 emission standards instead of Euro 4, but it's the new engine and it's the like powerful, awesome one. So it's a 5.2 litre 4-cylinder turbo diesel. So, absolute weapon. Love driving it. It's so handy. It's pretty much the best thing I own at the moment. Okay, so on to the K20. Buy it. I don't need it anymore. I have plans for it if I have to keep it, but I don't want to keep it. So buy it. $2 grand. I can find you a bunch of parts to make it a thing. Buy it.
Editor's note, don't buy it so it can turn into a gasser.
Alright, on to my favourite car. One of my favourite cars. This is definitely not going anywhere ever. The Crown. So it's a 1984 MS123. It has a 1.5J in it.
The bonnet's not popped.
Yeah. So it has a twin turbo 1.5J. It needs wiring, it needs airbags, it needs wheels, it needs inner tubs, it needs lots of things. Wiring, exhaust, heaps of shit. I have got a pile of parts for it, and I have done a lot of work to it over the years, but it does need to get a whole revamp, respray, like everything, because this thing's not going anywhere. This is like a long-term, forever kind of car. So can't really show anything on it. There was a few episodes really early on the channel about it, but that was just so we could move it pretty much. So it's been sitting outside for like 2 years until the shed was built, and then we pushed it in here, and that's all that's happened. But it'll be happening. It will happen. Probably next year, but it will happen. Alright, so on to the channel favourite, the Toyo Ace, the mini mod, the machine. So this has got an LS2 in it. It's like a 64-ish Toyota 25 or Toyo Ace. So we put an LS2 in it with super low Ks. We've got a turbo 400. I finally got a tail shaft back for it. It has run. It has not moved, and it hasn't got brakes. But we've done like a 7-inch lift. We've done 32-inch tyres, part of that 7-inch lift. New tray. All new wiring. We've just got heaps to do still. All the steering's been changed. Just everything, pretty much. But this thing, I'm hoping to try and take it to Summer Nats at the start of 2022. So we'll see how we go, and then I'll probably try and sell it there as well. So take it, advertise it, try and get rid of it. Maybe. I might end up liking it, we'll see. But absolute crazy machine. This is coming up after the Airbagged Sedan, with a bit of 25 thrown in. So we'll be working on 25, the Airbagged Sedan will be going, and then we'll be working on this as well. So we'll see how we go. If you're new to the channel, this is my 1928 Model A Ford. This was a huge part of the channel and a huge part of the plan of the channel. So the idea was I bought a house, couldn't afford to do any car stuff, so I decided that I'd turn $30 into a 1930 Model A. I got a 28 and I only spent $30, so that's pretty good. So I bought and sold a bunch of car parts and then eventually cars until I could afford to buy one of my dream cars, which is a 1928 or 30 Model A Ford. So this thing needs to be full hot rod, but that's like $100,000 away. I don't have $100,000, so it's currently just sitting. My dad and my uncle have tried to steal this car like 5 times already. I've rewired everything off camera, and it's still not particularly behaving. I think I put the wrong fuel in it and it's running too hot, so we'll see how we go with that. Tried to drive it to work and it actually got like 300 meters up the road and died, and then I had to wait for 15 minutes or so, got another 300 meters, and I turned around, and then it took me like an hour to get home, and it was only 600 meters. It was ridiculous. So this actually ran out of rego yesterday, so it's not going to be anytime soon, but I'd like to drive it in stock form, take my dad and my uncle for a drive because they love this thing. I think they want to borrow it for a couple of weeks, to be honest, but see how we go. This does need to drive in stock form before I pull it apart because I need to experience it. It's old, it's wacky, it's weird. You got to adjust timing and idle and double clutch and downshift and non-synchro gearboxes and stuff. So it's entertaining, but we need to drive it like it is before we do any hot rod stuff. I have got a friend that can help me do 3D scanning and all that sort of stuff, so we may end up doing that in the nearish future so we can start designing stuff, but there's a lot of things to do and a lot of money involved in this car before we can really start on the build. Alright, so onto the K25. So this is an early 70s K20 with a fastback essentially, so it's a 25. I bought this finally after 4 months of trying to buy it. I've then taken the engine out, taken the front suspension out, taken the doors off, cleaned everything. I need to get it all sandblasted or media blasted and then repainted. So what I'm going to do is the engine bay and underneath and the steering, and then put it back on the road and then fix a few of the little rust spots, just primer them up and drive it for a bit and enjoy it, because I don't have a Corolla at the moment that I can drive, and this thing would be pretty cool. So just need to do those few things, and then once I'm ready to actually do a proper project on it, we're going to go full wide front end, wide rear end, big guards, full respray, full rebuild, full everything, because this thing is something that I've wanted for a long time. When I was trying to buy my first K10, I was actually looking for a K20, so found a K10, bought that. Then I was looking for a K26, which is the wagon, and then I bought my K10 wagon, which is a much rarer car, but that's what I could find. Then I finally found a K25, chased the guy down, tracked him, just hassled him for 4 months pretty much until he decided that he was ready to sell it. And here it is. So that's pretty much it. We can't do a whole lot on it just yet. Got a lot of stuff in the way. So we're going to keep just doing a little bit here and there. And then eventually put an episode together and have engineering and front end and all that sort of stuff. So it's going to be a slow project, but it should be on wheels reasonably soon. Alright, so on to the last car that's in the vicinity, the Airbagged Seal. So this was a full shell when I got it, and I had a whole other car, and I swapped everything across, put all the airbags in. I've just recently airbagged the front. It's not done, but it is functional for now. I don't think I would drive on it, but it does actually lift up and down. If you watch my TikTok, then you would see that. So this thing literally needs the front bags finished off. It needs a bumper, it needs mud flaps, and that's about it. It's pretty much ready to go. I'm just going to get this finished and then sell it. So I didn't really want to do this, but I wanted to finish the car. So a friend of mine built it 6 years ago, and he never airbagged the front, and it really irked me. So I bought it back many years later, have airbagged the front, so now it's airbagged around, and then I'm just going to sell it. I just wanted to get the project finished for him, for me, kind of thing. So pretty cool. The paint is probably a poor choice of colour, but I like it. A lot of people don't, but it's just that one of those little things. It's just strange, it's cool. It's airbagged. So this will be the main focus of the channel for the next couple of days or a couple of weeks or whatever until it's finished, and then we'll move on to the 25 and the Toyo Ace. So once this goes, then we can start working on the cool projects again. Alright, so there's 3.5 cars that aren't here. So there's a K10, which has been fully restored, ready for paint. It's just a strip shell at the moment, but it's been ready for paint for about 8 years. That needs to happen sometime soon. But that's like full rust repairs, full custom everything's all been made on it, and then it got stripped down for paint, and that's as far as it got. There's also a K16 wagon, which is K10 for the wagon. So that's a full thing that I've had for a long time. It's got a 7K, 5-speed, different diff gears, different brakes, different wheels, a bunch of different stuff. That needs to have a whole rebuild on it as well. There's a lot of rust starting to come through, which I'm a bit worried about. So that's one of my favourite cars of all time. So I've stashed it at Dad's house. It's just in the shed, in the corner, until I get to it. I don't want it to get any worse, so that's where that is. Then there's also a VS wagon, the paddock basher. So I've kind of sold that to Tim. He wants to use it for a different rally day at his mate's farm. I'm not sure if he's actually going to buy it, but if he doesn't, we're going to pull it apart and scrap what we can and sell what we can, just get rid of it. And then there's another car, which I haven't mentioned on the channel. I've just put in an order for a wagon from Japan. So the laws have changed in the last week or so to say that we can get them finally. And that's what I always wanted. So it's going to be pretty much exactly the same as but a wagon. That's the only thing I wanted to change about that car was the rear window. So super cool. I don't know how long that's going to take, probably like 5 to 6 months or something to get that car here. But when it does, you'll see it and I'll do a whole episode on it. Alright, so as you can see behind me, we're behind the shed. So this has all been ripped back, gravel laid, concrete's happening in like 5 weeks or something, 4 weeks. So we did all around here, the truck bay, the wash bay, or the like hose down bay, moved the truck chassis, and then I've also cleaned out a whole bunch of the parts in the driveway. And we also got this hole dug for a pull pole or an earth hook. So that is 2 meters deep, which looks ridiculous. No Harley, don't put your ball down there.
There's a spider in there.
There's a spider in there. Yeah, it's really deep. So we've got a pole going in there and a piece of I-beam. It's going 2 meters in the ground and 1 meter out. So I can just tie stuff to it and yank on it essentially. It's a big old yank pole. That's about it really. So concrete soon, drain soon. That's about it. So we've got a little bit more gravel left. We have to do the footpath around the shed, and then we're going to spread some through here. Move the garden shed, move the chassis again once concrete's done, and then all this area will be all nice and gravel as well. Put a fence up, make the other side grass and look nice, and this side will be like the Chopshop. It's going along. So as for the driveway itself, I got rid of a bunch of the parts, and this is pretty much what was left. Coming down the side, the chassis is now uncovered. You couldn't actually walk through here the other day, and it was like chest height in parts. So a lot of it went to scrap. I put it up on Facebook for a couple of days, and no one was really interested, so it all went to scrap. Like just doors, a couple of not very good guards and boots and stuff. So it's all coming together. Still get rid of the stout, still got to get rid of the half cut, and there's still a K20 I need to sell. And then this is the pole that we're putting in the ground. So that's 3 meters long. And then we still got to get the Dodge undercover somewhere. So coming up to the storage box, I've taken all of the benches out and cleaned everything out. And then filled it with parts. So this is all stuff that I either need to sell for actual money or I'm keeping for a future project. So there's a bunch of Merc stuff up the other end, a few Corolla bits, and then a whole bunch of random stuff I need to keep for future projects. So the last thing on the tour is the little shed. So I haven't done anything with this other than to keep throwing things in the doorway. I've organised lights for this, so I have got lights for this shed and the other shed. I just haven't wired them up yet. So Dale's going to come around and help me wire this up, and then we can turn the lights on and actually like clean it out. And then all the power's already just there. So we just need to clean it up and hook it in. So once this has got lights, we'll clean up, move the stout in, move the Seor in, get all the parts out of the way, and then we can move some more stuff into there until the concrete and stuff's done behind the big shed, and the mezzanine is also ordered, but it's going to be like 6 to 8 weeks, so that's going to take a while to get here. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week.